With Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey about to arrive, the real question is not only whether the film will be good. The deeper question is whether Hollywood can still approach a foundational story of Western civilization without deforming it. The Odyssey is not just an adventure story. Before Plato, Aristotle, and the great tradition of Western philosophy, there was Homer. Odysseus helped form the Greek imagination, the heroic ideal, the idea of a man who must suffer, resist temptation, grow in prudence, patience, and return home. To be fair, there are reasons to be excited. Nolan is the greatest cinematic event director working today. He is filming The Odyssey in IMAX, with real locations, real ships, real scale, and a kind of practical filmmaking that almost nobody in Hollywood attempts anymore. This could be a huge, old-fashioned epic, something closer to Lawrence of Arabia than to the artificial blockbusters we usually get today. But the concern is also real. Leaving the casting big problem aside for a moment, the early signs suggest that Nolan may not simply be adapting Homer, but reinterpreting it for modern audiences. It is dangerous because a classic story is not great because we can bend it into whatever we want. It is great because it has an essence. Modern adaptations take an ancient symbol and fill it with modern anxieties, identity politics, feminism, celebrity casting, modern language, and ideological signals that pull the audience out of the world of the story. And that is why some people are already reacting negatively. In many of his films, Nolan is fascinated by human will, science, intelligence, and the capacity of man to solve impossible problems. That works beautifully in films like Interstellar, Oppenheimer, or Tenet. But The Odyssey is different. It is not about defy the gods, as the movie poster might make us wonder. Odysseus is not only a clever man fighting the gods. He is a man who depends on forces greater than himself. The world of Homer is not closed inside human intelligence. It is a world of fate, gods, divine help, temptation, punishment, mercy, and homecoming. So if Nolan turns The Odyssey into another story about man against the gods, or man replacing the gods, he may be imposing his own humanistic lens on a story that was never meant to be read that way. In other words, the issue is not whether Nolan can create impressive images, but if he can humble himself before the source material. Because when Peter Jackson respected Tolkien, The Lord of the Rings worked. When he tried to reshape Tolkien too much, as in The Hobbit, something was lost. The same rule applies here. A filmmaker can bring his vision, but he cannot replace the soul of the story with his own ideology. So I still hope The Odyssey is great. Because what is at stake is whether our culture can still receive its own inheritance with reverence. If the greatest director of our time can no longer tell the story of Odysseus, the crisis is bigger than one might imagine.